Hello, hello, dearest. How are you?
I'm so great, Trish. I'm so
Oh,
great.
what a thrill. And I just for those of you who are listening to this after the fact, this morning I get a text from my friend Cinda. This is my friend Cinda Lonsway, and I had asked her to give me a sense of what the music I sent her, The Way of Sky. There it is. um what was her effect, and I hadn't heard from her, and I thought, well, she'll get to it when it happens. Well, this morning I opened up my text and it exploded with Cinda, and it was so moving. I had to call you and get the feedback directly. It was uh an extraordinary share of such vulnerability, and I thank you so much for taking a moment to be with me. So
Oh,
tell me, what was your experience?
oh my gosh. Okay, so there is so much. There is so much. And I know that I sent you a written text, and then
Yeah.
that wasn't enough. So I had to send multiple audio texts. You could hear my reaction in my voice. And then when we talked, it was still, and I said, okay, this is ridiculous. We got to I really felt the need to be able to share this with especially your fan base because it is so important. It
Mm,
is so
mm, mm.
important. And, but I mean, I don't even know where to begin. Should I just tell the whole story?
Yeah, do that.
Okay.
And yeah, and we can then discuss afterwards. But yeah, tell them what happened.
Okay. Well, first of all,
Mm,
maybe people who don't know who I am, should I introduce myself?
please, yeah. Please
Okay, I
do.
mean, it's no big deal. But okay, so my name is Cinda Lonsway, and I am an author as well as a spiritual advisor and counselor. Well, Tryshe, you and I met at an event in LA that you and I had both been invited to, and we were drinking coffee, and you sat down with me, and that's where we fell madly in love with each other and have established a friendship. And that was back in what, 2012?
13, 12 or 13, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a while, and since then, whenever you travel to the Northwest, you come and or I fangirl all over you, and I go to your events, or I invite you to mine, and and because of that, I know there are so many people here, especially in Portland, Oregon, where I'm from, that just appreciate what you
Mhm.
offer them in your
Mhm.
healing with these sound bowls, and it is so incredible.
Mhm.
Um, just
Mhm.
so incredible. So you do this Facebook Live, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Trish is on, Facebook Live. So I go on and I watch it, and you're promoting your new album, and you're talking about the profound synchronicities that allowed this to so seamlessly fall
Oh,
into place. Okay, so I am a believer in signs. Anyone who has read my books know it's all about signs for me. And so when things happen so flawlessly and sort of the universe opens up to you, I know magic is at play. So I already had that in my mind. Okay. So I couldn't wait. So I I had it downloaded on my phone, and then I just sort of forgot, just sort of forget. Well, I'm one of the many people on this planet that have been waking up with night terrors, night and anxiety, right?
mhm.
I just wake up in a pure panic. And I
Mhm.
know that's because of the shitstorm that's happening in the world right now, and all the duality that's
Yeah.
happening, and all the fighting, and
Mm.
you against me, and the
Funny.
separation and the political, and really all of that is being exasperated because of the media, right? The media is manipulating all of it, and those of us that are buying it are,
Consumers of it. Right.
are right. So anyway, I wake up, I'm going to say 3 nights ago, last night being the third. I wake up 3 nights ago and in my night anxiety, and I went, okay, wait, because what do I do? Do I need to meditate? Do I need to listen to something? And I remembered your new album, The Way of the Sky. So I put my headset on, I turned it on, and the first song was so calming and so
Mm.
beautiful, and everything I knew it would be.
Mm.
And it calmed
Mm.
me enough that then I could turn it off and fall asleep. The second night, same thing, but right before I put my headset on, I was hearing a noise outside in our cul-de-sac, a car driving around at a weird hour. I got up, looked out the window, saw what appeared to be my neighbor getting in a car and leaving. That morning, I listened to your music again, fell asleep. That morning, I find out that there was a burglary in our neighborhood. A neighbor lost 2 cars. Another house was broken into, stuff was stolen off their counter. And I just thought, oh my gosh, what an invasion. I have reason to be afraid. I have reason to wake up and be anxious. And so then last night, same thing. I wake up about 1 o'clock, sheer panic. What's happening? What's happening? I listen for cars driving in the cul-de-sac. I'm like, all right, this is ridiculous. Oh, let me listen to Tryshe. So I put the headset on and I listen to one song. It's calming. And then another song comes on and it's haunting. I don't know what other word to say. There's this, one of the bowls, whatever bowl you are playing, has such a low frequency. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I'm feeling it in my torso and in my upper legs and my lower arms. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not helping. This is freaking me the F out. This is not helping. And whoa, whoa. And I'm like, oh my God, seemed to be amplifying almost my anxiety, but because it was you playing and because I have seen you play live so many times, I could see you doing this. And I'm like, her eyes are closed. She's in the zone. I'm safe. Just write it out. And then ding, the higher frequency bowl comes in. And in my mind, I'm like, there they are. The angels have arrived. I'm getting goosebumps. The angels have arrived. And those that know me know that that's the realm I work with, that realm and grace. And so I'm like, they're here. And yet that lower frequency was still playing, the lower frequency, and then the higher frequency. And I went, oh my God, Tryshe is creating this duality, this fight between the light and the dark and the light and the dark. And I'm like, this is fascinating. How is she capable of playing both at the same time? And I'm just I'm sitting there transfixed, right? It's just in my ears. My room is pitch black. I'm just fascinated and observing and listening. And then I realized something so freaking profound, which is why we are talking. And that is that in my mind's eye, in my mind, in my thoughts, the way that we have all been programmed is to recognize the extreme polar opposites, that duality, and to recognize it as one versus the other, a battle between light and dark. And I'm sitting there saying, but this, and to recognize that the other is bad versus where I like to hang out. And I'm having these thoughts as this music is playing, and I'm realizing, but wait, this is Tryshe, and she's playing both. And this is music that is resonating through her, through these bowls to me. There is no freaking duality here. This is one person playing 2 parts. And yet, and the more I leaned in and the more I listened, I recognized that they weren't separate, that in fact, they were harmonizing with each other. So here was this low frequency that made me anxious, and here was this high frequency that I could relate to, and yet the end result is And the profound lesson that I came away from, Trish, is that there is no such thing as duality. It does not freaking exist. Meaning the creator is the creator is the creator. And when we take it down to the micro level, here you are the creator, channeling the creator, creating two tones that are harmonizing together. There is no separateness. There is no duality. It is an illusion. It is a story we tell ourselves that is wrong. That is wrong. And so I, in that moment, opened my eyes and I went, holy shit. I have got it wrong. It is not me versus them. It is not us versus them. No matter what the media says, yes, we're individuals, and yes, we need to do what is right for us, but we can coexist with other people, with other beliefs, with other ways of living in other religions. There is no fear. We can live in harmony.
Yeah.
All from that one song.
Wow. Wow. And what you're describing is like harmonic polarities, where that we have that deep, emulsive, dark, delicious, wet, a little scary, vulnerable energy. And then we move into this harmonic, almost a vortex, a stairway, and the light comes in, and then they start working together to really weave the tapestry of our humanity that does contain all. Like you said, it contains all. I have room for everything. I accept my darkness. I accept the lightness of my being. And there is another track that's called The Fullness of Being. And I think it's right after that particular track. And the fullness of being, when I listen to that, it's as though I feel myself birthing and evolving and opening and opening. And I feel every harmonic potential come alive in me. I didn't think like that. I wasn't inside a thought when I was recording this, but when I listened, I realized, oh my word, this is incredible. I'm feeling all of the excitement, the harmonic tonal vitality that exists in me, the potential of everything. And I could feel it come online, and it got bigger and it got bigger and it got big. I mean, it's so each of these sounds, these tracks are telling a fragment of that story, that evolutionary, the evolution of being, really. And when I finished that track, oh, I'm gonna die. It's called Recalibrate. I left the recording studio and went into the booth where the engineers were, and one of them was saying, "Oh my God, what the F was that?" And it was the same feeling. It's like that moved tectonic plates within him, within me. I could feel, I was still kind of stupefied as I walked in. And it was, and then when we gave it a second listen, I could see the cinematic scope of that particular track. It was mind bending. And as you know, I am in a zone. I have no idea what these transmissions are. And I find that every time I listen, I'm a bit different. My cells have shifted just in a tiny way to absorb a new spectrum of that sound and of that light. It's really, really something. So to hear you talk about it this way was blowing my mind, because you tapped it.
Well, it's interesting because, I have it playing one after the other. So if that wholeness song, the fullness, came right after, that could have been when I had this profound realization it could have just been part of it. It could have just led into the next piece, which brought in this awareness of how powerful this message is, without you even realizing what
Mhm.
what the message is. I mean, it sounds like you just tapped into something and it affected everyone in the studio listening to you. And then I just need you to know that the people who are listening with their headsets on are like, what is this? And wow, I challenge everybody to listen. I mean, I think it kind of helps to start at the beginning and go through
Yeah.
it to get to that point. But the profoundness and to go, oh, here's that one piece I heard Trish and Cinda talking about. I really want to recognize
Mm.
the importance of what it means to not live in a world of duality.
Yes, yes. And I have to tell you, when I had no album concept, I had nothing except 50 bowls and the opportunity. And believe you me, if it's hard to describe how extraordinary this opportunity was, because it was a call out of the blue where this unbelievable, beautiful, talented couple who owned this recording studio in Oklahoma called the Music Group and invited me to come and record. So that was the overarching gift, almost that the universe was working through them to bring this about. And so I didn't know what I was doing in terms of a concept. So that you're hearing what I felt after listening is extraordinary, because we are moving in the same with the same desire. We are literally calling forth this music, if you will. And I didn't labor in any kind of idea of how this would change the world. That was not, it was just, who am I in this moment? And just be present with these bowls. And I don't know if I shared with you, the bowls I'm using are so unusual, and I could never have recorded anywhere else but at this place, because they have the technology to record at a very high bit rate, which means very high, ultra HD, high def, so that everything is captured. You hear the nuance. And so as I'm listening back, I'm stunned at the play, the interplay of these bowls and how they have conversations. So my only job is to be a bowl so that I don't interfere with any of the conversation. I'm just the activator. And yet I'm the music. As the musician, I am also moving the divine through me, to use a phrase. But I have these big, huge 16-inch, what is called super great bowls. The sound that these bowls make and the interplay that they have is so enduring. The decay is very long. So I can activate a bowl and it just continues, which allows me to bring in other subtle sounds as needed. But the key piece for me was, do not overplay. Don't get in there and give, because the music really wants to be extended, expanded. And I wanted to experience the depth of the sound as it just kept on winding me.
Yeah. Oh, and you did that. You absolutely did that. I know that when, I've listened to many of your songs, many of your albums, and and they're all so profound. And really quickly, I think it was your chakra one that I was listening to after I had a serious leg injury on a hike. And I was listening to it, and my leg just started to jump off the bed. And I was just watching it go boom, 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 as whatever it was that you were playing,
I was vocalizing. Yeah, I was
yeah,
vocalizing the primordial tones. Right.
and it was, I mean, it wasn't even going, it was going through me, but I felt it nowhere else but in my leg. It was just so bizarre. And I don't even remember which chakra it was that did that. And And I will forever be profoundly grateful for that moment. But I'm also in awe of the whole process that you have of when you're playing. And I know that, sometimes when people play the bowl, and most certainly whenever I try and I'm not talented, you can hear the friction, if that's the right word, of the wand on the rim.
Right, right.
Yeah, and you can hear it
Yeah.
until the bowl comes to life, right? Until the
Right.
bowl finally comes to life, and then you can start playing it or hear its resonance. But especially in this album, and probably in all the others, is you don't hear that drag. You don't hear that friction. And I am in awe of that. And it occurred to me, and you just validated it with what you said, is in order for that not to be there, that was the question I was asking. How is it not there? How is it that we aren't hearing the wand on the bowl, scratching it as it's bringing the bowl to life? And the answer I came up with was that bowl already has to be alive by your presence. So you bring the presence of your own frequency that is already activating the bowl, that all you need to do is ding it or start the ceremony or the symphony of that particular bowl, and there's no friction because it's already alive. It's already vibrating. Is that true? Because that's what it sounds like.
It feels that way because my job is to not play the bowl, but to be a bowl. If that makes sense. That's my goal in life, number one. But number two, when I sit down with these bowls, it's entering a field where I'm just becoming in the same flow as the bowl. So when I play, it's almost like I'm feeling the dance of sound move through me, move through the wand, and activate the bowl. And I often tell my students, no need to push or play the bowl. Just wait for the bowl and the wand to talk, to connect. And at that point, you are in the throes, you are in the swell of sound. So don't push it, don't insert yourself. Well, that same thing is like, I did not want to insert myself in this. I wanted to be as much a witness as the musician. And in so doing, I just became the transmission. I became the what was moving through me. And as I tell you, I listen back and I think, how did this happen? How in the world did those little sounds? And I have to say, I was working with master technicians, master engineers. So they have the equipment, they had we were sort of mixing, they were mixing on the spot. At one point, the engineer had a question and we were looking about something. So he said, well, let me reach out to my, the guy who does all of our mastering work. And he sent the track over, and the guy immediately called back and he said, I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole, because when you start to master music like this would be compressed to such a degree you wouldn't hear what you're hearing now. I would be interrupting that. And he had such a respect for it. In fact, he said, how in the world is this music being created? And so LG, the engineer I was working with, he sent him a picture. So this is what she's doing. This is what it looks like. So yeah, it's just me with these extraordinary bowls. And the last track is me playing all of the bowls all at once.
I don't think I've heard that yet. I'm so excited. I mean, I haven't even heard the whole album. I am calling you because I think, if I looked at my phone, it would tell me where I am. It is.
Oh my God.
It is so incredible. Anyway, so you are actually playing all 50 of your bowls.
Yes. I set them up in a circle and I just walked around, played them all. And I was stunned when I heard back how congruent everything was, the cohesion. And I call the track continuity because every sound came together, all the layers of overtones, because believe me, one bowl tone can create or does create 12 overtones, and those 12 overtones create 12 more overtones. So there's layer upon layer upon layer of information, harmonic information. We can't hear. We don't have the wherewithal in our auditory structure to hear that, but the body does. The body's feeling it. So as I hear all these bowls being played, the layers, I'm struck by how harmonic it is, even though all these bowls are being played at once.
Wow. So first of all, I'm in complete awe of your talent, my friend. How extraordinary is that? But I am also, I'm reminded how the healing of these bowls and toning with your own voice brought about your own healing.
Right.
And how it then also helped to heal my injury in my leg and speed up the healing process, to how now it is my belief that what I experienced from the music was not only healing for me, because I believe that so much of my nighttime anxiety is based on the duality that I was experiencing in the world. And how are we ever going to come together before there's World War III? It's like, what do we do? How do we go about this healing? And I realized how important it is to heal ourselves first, to start with the micro before we worry or do anything about the macro. So to heal myself and to understand the truth and the fact that there is no such thing as duality, that within me, I can coexist with my ego and my spirit, the dark and the light, the good and the bad. I can coexist in harmony, live in harmony, literally, because we're talking about sound. And that then once I've healed that will become the reality in the macro, which is that resonance. That resonance is felt, but it has to start within. And so I beg everyone to listen to all of your pieces, but specifically those two of, what did you call the two ones?
From on this particular CD, well, there's one also that sort of lays it up, is With the Waters, and then Recalibrate, and then The Fullness of Being. There are 7 tracks, so they all sort of arc into the evolution of that. So you were right at the depth of your birthing.
Right, literally the depth of my birthing. And I think it is so needed in the world right now, that if people can recognize that duality is not real, it's not a them versus me, us, it is that we can coexist. We can coexist in harmony, and you don't have to change in order for me to be in the same room with you.
Right.
I think that is so important. And so
oh dearest,
and yeah, so the profoundness of it, starting with your own healing, and then taking the healing, the physical healing of you, to the physical healing of my leg, to the spiritual healing, to now the expansion of that, and taking this resonance out into the world to help heal the world. And I believe, and without a doubt, that was why everything happened the way that it did for you. I'm going to sneeze. So, just everything happened for you so easily, so flawlessly, so seamlessly. And then for you to be able to produce with this production team and this studio, such a beautiful, sacred piece of healing art for the whole world to listen to and be impacted by.
Shout out to Chris Friels and LG Hamilton. They were the masters at the board, and they created, they opened the space to be able to capture the most magnificent bowls I've ever had a chance to work with. Because I do take these as in a concert setting, and it's amazing. They're huge. The sound they create is otherworldly. As you touched into it, it's a haunting beauty that these produce. But at the same time, it's like you bypass the fear and really move into coherence with that as a part of the richness of who I am as and the depth of who I am as a human being. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting on the road with these bowls. It's going to take a little, creative thinking, because well, I actually took some. I traveled to a wedding in June, and I had these big bowls, and we were able to play in an environment that I didn't expect would be so copacetic to that. But yeah, so I'll look forward to in the future coming to a sanctuary near you.
I'll be there. You bet I will be. And I I took this profound experience that I had last night to a women's circle online that I joined, and I started to talk to them about what had happened. And one of them you have actually met before. Her name is Sharon Raji Maynard, and
right.
yeah, so she came up. She calls herself a galactic mystical shaman, and she came up with a story of our galactic history as to why I had experienced this profound moment. And if it's okay with you, this is a little bit spontaneous. I think that we should pause this video, or we can end this video and start another one and bring her on for a second video and include her in her history of what it might mean. Or would you be open to that? Should we try?
That'd be fabulous. How do we do that? Would we just do it, on a speakerphone, or just have another video, a second video?
I think we should wrap this one up and do a whole second video with her, and I'll call her right now so we can do it right now if she's available. I think we can do that. So let's wrap this one up.
All right.
Well, anything else? Did we cover what we wanted to?
Thank you. Well, I just want to know, for those of you who are looking to have, I do have this in hard disk, and you can get it on soundshifting.com. But it's also on every platform, from Apple Music to Pandora to Spotify to Amazon to Tidal to Dexter, to all manner of streaming services. So if you are interested, tap on and share it with the world. Thank you.
Share it with the world.
Thank you for this. This is fabulous. All right,
I was sitting here trying to see if I had a copy of my book that I could show people, but I don't. So
yeah, no. Well, bring for Sharon's conversation. Bring it on. All right, dearest.
Oh, I love you so much. I'm in such awe, and I will be forever, ever grateful to you, my dear friend.
Thank you. See you on the next Zoom with Sharon, I hope. Okay. Bye-bye.